Hello, team.
Yay!
Hi, we're here. We made it. Thank you for waiting. I am actually in a new setting, as you can tell. I am here in the Twitch office in our broadcast room because this is the middle of the day. Ah! Gillyweed! Change! Ah! What's happening?
Well, guys, you guys know that we've been giving some thought to the show. We did a survey like a couple months ago or a month ago to try to gauge interest and figure out, what you guys were liking, what wasn't working for the show. And we have decided, based on some real life stuff that's going on for us, that we would like to move the day or move the time to now, so noon Pacific time for the show and try it out here. We really want to make sure that we can continue to do this together. It's really important to us. And we'll talk more about, our reasons for wanting to move it here, but maybe we should just go into what the show is for anybody who's new, who might be up at the time for the show that normally wouldn't be.
Yeah, well, here's the dorm. Nope, that's not what we're doing. That was a while ago. This is Eye on the Storm. There's a lot of Orm words in our world. This is Eye on the Storm. It's a weekly show where Gillyweed and I talk to members of the Heroes community, usually pro players, but other people too, about what's going on in the Heroes of the Storm community as well as in the game itself. It originally started because we wanted to be really involved in the Heroes community. We wanted to set aside time for us to study together so that we would know the game really well, and eventually had a goal of casting together and working big Heroes events together, and that's where we started. And we decided to do it on Misscliks, which, if you're just here for the first time, welcome. And Gilly, what's Misscliks?
Misscliks is a community dedicated to uplifting females in the geek and gaming culture. It's just a safe place for people to come together, gamers of all types, and just hang out and have fun. We have a lot of different really cool shows on Misscliks. A show every day now, which is a huge deal for Misscliks. Is this the first time that it's ever happened, Dana?
That we've had a show on every day?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been the last month or so that's been the case, which is a huge goal of ours that we'd had, and so it feels really, really good to see it happening. There's such a huge variety of stuff too.
There's board games, there is role-playing games or games about, I believe there are like scary games and indie games, and then we are all about Heroes of the Storm, which if you aren't sure what that is, go to heroesofthestorm.com. So I can tell you all about that. We've been doing this show for a long time. This is our 62nd episode. And if you want to see any of our previous ones, they are on the Misscliks YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/MISSCLIKS. You can also follow Misscliks on Twitter, Facebook, and right here on Twitch. Yeah, maybe, do you want to talk about, just go start from the beginning for the show?
Yeah, and I think I'd like to first, if you don't mind, Gilly, address the time change just really quick,
yeah.
and the format the show's going to take, because like Gilly said, we did a survey to just better understand what you guys like about our show, what you might want to change, just kind of getting some feedback from you. And first of all, thank you, because the feedback we got was overwhelmingly positive. A lot of you said that you just really enjoyed the show overall, and a lot of you said you wouldn't change a thing. So I'm sorry to those of you who really didn't want to change anything, and that we are going to change some things. But the primary things that you guys said on our survey in terms of what you loved most about the show was, and this was something that kind of gets me choked up, and that Gilly and I have shared as kind of a special thing between us, is you guys mentioned that you tune in because you're fans of us, and so
we weren't expecting that.
Yeah, we didn't at all, and that really informed our choices about the show. As Gilly and I both get really more and more busy, both in the Heroes community and in the gaming community at large. And we look at, where can we take hours and what can we put time into. The fact that you want to spend this time with us particularly really is motivating and is really cool. So thank you for that. And then the second thing you said is that you love seeing other people in the Heroes community, like pro players, community organizers, all of those people. And those were the two main things you loved to get out of our show. You liked the other stuff like strategy and gameplay and all of that, but those were the main two things. So as Gilly and I looked at, we are not having as much time in the evenings, we're not having as much prep time. What is the base of what we want to do with our show? And the base of it, the core of it that we want to do the most is kind of the interview and the community and the, spending time with you and connecting you with other people in the Heroes community part of our show. So that's where we're really going to focus on right now. That means we are going to eliminate our play session for the time being. I'm doing this during my lunch break here at Twitch, so the show will be shortened. It'll be probably no more than an hour, depending on the day. And we hope that you'll continue to give us feedback and that you will, alongside us, kind of take bittersweet pleasure in the fact that the show is continuing to grow and change, because when we started this, Gilly, this show was really, we planned just you and I to like have a study hall together, and now it's become, it's gone through so many iterations, right?
It has. Yeah, we started out and we were bringing people on to teach us about Heroes of the Storm because we wanted to be more involved with it, and it happened. We got way more involved with it, and it has like started to very much like take more time. We've had to have some episodes off while we've been at other things, but it's cool that it worked and that we are able to still like want to be able to still hang out with you guys and continue to talk with those people. And I think another great thing too is changing the time might yield in some unexpected results, like being able to have people on from other regions of the world that we weren't able to before with such a late time. And we are going to always make sure that the VODs continue to be uploaded right away. So anybody who can't watch at this time, can't have lunch with us even, can still make sure that they get to see the VODs and see everybody and give feedback to us by tweeting at us or whatever they want to do. But yeah, starting at the beginning, we wanted to do a little state of the show episode.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what Gilly said, by the way, we are going to make a commitment to try to get the VOD of the show on YouTube by the time that we normally would have been streaming at night. By 7 p.m. or so. So if you are, if your friends are concerned that they can't tune in anymore, it's a bummer that they can't be here live, but the VOD should be available the same day so nobody misses anything. But as Gilly said, we can make it kind of like a little photo album of where we've been, where we started, and some of the things that we've done outside this show. As Gilly said, the goal was to get more involved in the scene and work in the scene and make that part of our jobs. And that definitely didn't come just from the show, but it was with your support and with your help that we got there. So the first thing that I'm pulling up is actually the Heroes Hype Amateur Series, which was Gilly and my first foray into casting. And actually, as I'm looking at this video, Gilly, we've both moved so many times since this. That background is the original Evil Genius's Good Game Dota studio, where I used to do the show from, where I used to do Heroes Hype from, and yours, your background is that blanket that you used to stream in front of.
Oh, I still have it. I still use it for the show sometimes. So you would think that maybe I wouldn't have moved, but yeah, I've moved like twice since then. Also, my hair is much different.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, those glasses. I love those glasses. I should go find those. But yeah, so Heroes Hype was Eunice Chen, who owns Heroes Hype, and the rest of that crew gave us a chance to try casting for the first time, even though we had never done it before, and we learned a ton from that, a ton.
We did. It was cool too because there were times when we were able to cast with other people and learn from them, but also I felt like by casting together, it helped our show too, which again was kind of an unexpected but really good outcome from that, is that like we spent a lot more time together and got to hang out, got to figure like became better friends and bring that knowledge back to the show, which was really cool.
Yeah. And this is early on, but we did that for quite some time, and we actually also worked with Heroes Hype briefly on Heroes Hype On Air, which was their show about Heroes news, and yeah, Gilly headed that up, but then I was kind of like the correspondent that would come in and talk about events and goings on in just a little quick clip.
A shirt matches the background too much. Yeah, like so pro.
Yeah, so that was another thing that kind of helped us work together in tackling some post-produced content when we had done live content together before. And it was actually kind of short-lived in the scheme of things. I mean, like, we did it for a long time, but compared to the 62 episodes of this show, that wasn't very long, right?
Yeah, I think it was something where we just we couldn't quite figure out the formatting that we wanted for it, and wasn't sure about like trying to get the information at the right times. Like, yeah, it was kind of hard to keep up with, for sure, to keep doing the show.
Yeah, and I think that's important to recognize, as we're kind of looking at the state of the show and how things grow and change, that content is like this. You make content that you think is going to be good, and it is good at the time, and then you iterate on it, or you change it, or you grow out of it, or you move on from it and do other things. So when we say it was kind of short-lived, it wasn't that that wasn't an important step. It was just something that like helped us get to the next thing, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So those were a lot of behind-the-scenes things, and we did that especially because back in the day, this was like, I think this was still an alpha.
Yeah, it was really hard to find one spot to see what all the tournaments were going on. And this is like, really, I'm pretty sure it was basically just EU and NA at this point. Like I think there was a Storm League was what was going on in China. So there was really just not one way, except for the newsletter that Heroes Hype sent out. We were like, well, let's turn this into video form so people can hear it and just, like, put it on and play it while they're getting their coffee in the morning or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and then, I mean, these were not live events that we were doing, but the first live event that I think we got to really be like publicly seen together was the Mayhem Begins YouTube launch event that we did, and I got to kind of be on the interviewed side instead of the interviewer side by Malik Forte, and then we got to be interviewed together about Misscliks and what Eye on the Storm was doing, which was really cool because it was kind of Blizzard validating that our work had been important to their community, which doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but to a show like ours, that's like the ultimate stamp of approval. Like, okay, Blizzard Senpai has noticed you. You're doing something right and successful.
Agreed. It was a really good feeling. I remember shaking up there on the stage because I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I'm wearing my Brightwing shirt that Deb made me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that event was so much fun too. I just remember that and Dorm were really like the first two events, I'm pretty sure, community-wise for Heroes, where I started to meet the community, and I was like, this is a community that I want to continue to be a part of. It was really validating to be at both of those and realize that, because the Heroes community is just so amazing, so supportive and incredible.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, Gilly, this is the event where you taught me about Z-Pack. Do you remember that?
Yes, because you were so sick.
I was so ill. You guys, I had almost fainted on the subway right before I had to fly to this event, like to the point where I actually had to get off the subway and like lay on the ground until I could walk again and like climb. So I was like very, very sick and had just been ignoring it because I was doing so many events, and I called Gillyweed and I was like, I'm sure I'm fine, and she was like, girl, you are sick. You get yourself a Z-Pack. And I'm like, what's a Z-Pack? So she taught me about this very powerful antibiotic that healed me enough to be on stage. But I was very ill at that event.
Yeah, you were. I mean, I think I remember that at least by this day you were not feeling like you were passing out. But I even remember rehearsals the day before. You felt very dizzy, and I was pretty worried. I was pretty worried about you. But
we made it.
You're so good. You are so good at, like, even if things are not working out your way, whether it's being sick or you don't get enough rehearsals or something, like, you can never tell. The audience can never tell that you are dealing with all of that. You hide that very well.
Well, thank you. And I was glad to have your support because you were the one that was like, hey, you're sick. Freaking heal yourself.
Please just get this really good antibiotic.
Yeah. So right after that, actually, or maybe not right after, but this is loosely chronological. I don't know. I just grabbed a whole bunch of stuff that I remembered. But Gilly and I actually got to cast the official Road to BlizzCon on Misscliks. So because of this show, they approached us and said, we know you've been casting. You can cast these preliminary rounds on the Road to BlizzCon. You can do it on your channel where you've normally been doing Eye on the Storm. And that was huge for our Heroes viewership. For people who were looking for Heroes content, that's where a lot of you guys came from, I think, that are still here watching the show. So that, again, was a huge stamp of validation where it was like, okay, Blizzard thinks we're good enough to help show their game officially as casters.
I just saw when I messed up the draft.
Oh, I don't know what's going on with YouTube
when you
right
go
now.
to Chrome, Like, when you go to
Oh, yeah, yeah.
proms and it gives you the black screen?
Totally. We have totally done that so many times.
I still do that. I did that just the other day. Everybody's like, come on, why do I do this?
Yeah.
That's amazing. But yeah, this was a really good feeling to be able to cast something that was official. Not that, Heroes Up didn't feel official to us, but just to hear that our work and our time spent had been recognized and we were rewarded. Yeah, it was still a community stream, but it was so much fun. And it was cool too because a lot of the teams that we felt knowledgeable, right? Because a lot of the teams that we had been casting in Heroes Hype were like, oh, they're here too. That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah, seeing them
advance. I was also like, oh, there's Cloud9 in this too. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And look, I'm wearing my little strawberry necklace that you gave me.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I gave that to you at dorm.
Yeah, in fact, I skipped dorm because I couldn't find this picture of us there. But Heroes of the Dorm was one of the first times that we had gotten to watch a live event together, and we got showered in confetti, and we shared chocolate cake, and we took cute pictures together. I wish I could find it because there was a really, really cute picture of that. But
yeah, that was probably one of my favorite events, if not my favorite event of last year. Was Dorm. Like, I know I casted BlizzCon, but Dorm was just amazing, and getting to be in the audience. I had so many moments with people, and especially you and I got to share cake and sit on the floor and get showered in confetti and watch this really hype and amazing Heroes match. And it's one of my favorite memories of Heroes of all time so far.
Well, speaking of BlizzCon, this is not centered, but but Gilly did get to cast BlizzCon, and I got to host it, and there we are with the World Champions, which, like, we don't even have to say too much about how amazing that was. But we also, I don't have video of this either, but we were also at the North American Championships that year, and so really got to kind of work together at those live events, which was really cool. Got to be interviewed together and talk about this show. And I feel like this is repetitive. I keep saying this, but when I say we got to do these things, I hope you guys hear it in our community as, like, we including you, because you were absolutely the reason we got to do this stuff. And when we started this show, the idea was we want to do this together with you and learn with you and hope that you will help us. And you absolutely have. So I hope you're kind of, when we're looking at this photo book, this isn't like me and Gilly being like, look, all the great things we did. This is us trying to show you, like, this was your accomplishment. Thank you so much for helping us get there.
Yeah, supporting us was maybe even more than you guys realized too, because there were times that I remember, very specific times, that both Anna and I, whether at the same time or separately, were very unsure of ourselves and still sometimes feel that way. But you guys supporting us has really fueled us and kept us going and helped us remember that, despite how rough some events can be, or like difficult sometimes chat can be, not you guys, like other event chat and stuff, we know we always have you guys, and that means a ton. It really does. We love getting to meet you guys at events and hang out with you, and we've met so many people through the Heroes community that I know we'll be friends with for a long time.
And speaking of the community and you guys, this was the Misscliks community meetup that we did at BlizzCon, and that's where we got to meet a lot of you guys face to face for the first time, which was amazing. And I love this picture of us. It's one of my favorites. We got to hang out with some important Blizzard people, which was always fun.
Frojo!
Yeah, Frojo's just hanging out. There's Frojo. Yeah, so that was amazing. And then, this year we have still been doing a lot of stuff together. In fact, actually, this is a video from BlizzCon, so never mind. Just forget about that. This is the America's Championship from this year, where, again, Gilly got to cast, I got to host. There's Zoya hanging out with her on the casting desk. And how was that, Gilly? How was that event, the America's Championship?
That event was very fun because I loved that we got to talk to you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a completely different feel. I'm tilting Zoya right now, which is another great feature. So I got to cast a lot with Zoya. You guys know I enjoy casting with him a lot. And
oh, you know why I left the audio on this is because I think you gave me a compliment.
Oh, was it you, like, beautiful fairy dragon.
Glorious pixie dust fairy dragon. Yeah, that's what it was. So thank you for that.
It's the highest honor for coming from me. You know
obviously. And yeah, as Gillyweed said, me being able to talk to the casters was huge because we set out to cast together, Gillyweed and I. And we did a lot of casting in Heroes Hype, but our paths kind of diverged where I've been doing a ton of hosting, she's been doing a ton of casting. And I'm happy with that because I love being a host. I really enjoy the function of a host being like to really know the people and tell the stories of the people and, focus on that side and let Gilly do her amazing analysis on the game side. But there's still a part of me that loves that analysis and loves to get deep into the game as well. So I've been yearning for the chance to do that kind of like desk host role where I'm there with the casters talking more deeply about the game too. And so this kind of gave me a little taste of that. I haven't gotten to do that desk hosting role yet, but I hope that I'll get the opportunity. So that's something I'm still yearning for and got a little bit of a taste of at this event.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun. I mean, it would just be awesome to get to see you do that role, knowing like the amount of time you spent on the game and learning the players and getting in touch with all of them. And I mean, through the show and outside of the show too. And between this, like how this event was set up and how Dorm coming up, which I know we're going to talk about, was set up too, I think that it would be really fun to see you get to do all of those different kinds of roles. Because I know that this was new for you, but so was Dorm, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think Heroes is playing a lot with format right now, and a lot of organizations are trying different ways to do things, and they're, especially with Heroes of the Dorm, they were looking at this as like, how do we make this the most like sports that we possibly can? And so I'm hoping that as those roles continue to shift and change, that I'll get to try a whole bunch of different ones. But speaking of Heroes of the Dorm, like you said, we had a very traditional casting desk. You see Tasteless Artosis, Trixler, and there's the beautiful Gillyweed there. And I got to be, they were calling me the esports correspondent, which was kind of a mix of like a host, a sideline reporter, and like an MC of the event, which was really, really fun. And this was Gilly and I getting to work together on live TV, which was a whole different thing. But I would say, Gilly, I don't know if I've said this to you already, but what was really validating for me there is that they were like, this is live TV, this is live TV, this is so important, it's live TV, it's totally different. It wasn't that much different.
It wasn't anything different.
No, it was exactly what we have been doing. So the idea that esports is like behind somehow, no, it's like exactly the same as what we had been doing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there was a little bit more pressure, right? But it didn't feel any different. I remember when the first time we started talking up at the desk and the crowd cheered, when it was like right, I think, so it was right as the intro was ending, the dun 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 dun, that intro, and everyone starts, oh look, there's UT Arlington. It's like right as everybody, right as that ended and the whole crowd cheered, I started shaking up at the desk. But it was from that roar, feeling the roar of the audience. It's just like, how do you not start shaking from that? But I calmed down, and then after that, it was another live event that was super fun and had great teams and great games.
Well, and I guess the reason I wanted to kind of end here, and unfortunately we have this shortened show, is that right now we're looking at Arizona State, the real dream team. And, Michael Udall is there in the center, kind of one of these superstar players. And that's the last tab in my browser right now. And the first one that I showed you was Heroes Hype Amateur Series. And if there's not a better symbol of us having grown with you guys in the community, thanks to your help and alongside a lot of you, there's no better example than that. Because those guys that just won Heroes of the Dorm were guys that we have casted and gotten help from and worked with even as far back as Amateur Series. And so I guess the main point of what we wanted to do with this main show, or with this the shortened kind of state of the show episode for you guys, was say thank you for all those times, look back with you on all those times, and hope that you'll continue to help us, and know that this show is really for you, that we're doing this, and that we are doing our best to keep giving back in any way that we can.
Yeah, and you can always let us know what we can do to do that more on the show. And look forward to us, returning to the show with our guests at this time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be still talking to them about Heroes and doing our thing, but we always want to keep hearing from you because we are so grateful for everything that you guys have done for us.
And we would love suggestions, as we know this is going to be more interview focused and more like getting information from people. We would love your suggestions on who you'd like to see on the show. It's especially effective if you talk to those people or those players or those streamers or whoever that you're interested in having on the show, and you introduce us to them. Knowing that they want to be on the show is a great way for us to get them on here. And telling us, what you want to hear about from them. All of you who participate by putting questions in the chat each week or by using Twitter to do that, we really appreciate that and want to keep that going. And then those of you who are watching this on YouTube, we really appreciate you watching, and we want you to know that we're working on building this show as more digestible content that you guys can watch at your leisure as well.
Yes, whenever you have time for Eye on the Storm, we will be here for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that does it for us for today. It is a shortened episode. It may be more toward the hour in the future ones once we have guests on, but I believe Anna has a meeting now, correct?
I do. I have to go continue working at Twitch. It's Take Your Kid to Work Day, and so I get to take the kids into the studio and teach them how to broadcast.
That sounds awesome.
It's going to be really fun. But in the meantime, guys, if you have any of that feedback you want to give us, don't forget we do have a Discord server now. The link is just below here. If you're watching on YouTube, it is on the Misscliks Twitch channel description, also on our website. So please hang out in there and let us know anything else. Gilly, where can people keep up with you this week? Anything coming up?
I do have a lot coming up, which is a lot of the reasoning for all of my crazy schedule changes. I just can't talk about it yet, but I promise once I can, it will be worth it in every way. It's pretty huge. So thank you guys so much for being patient with me through that. You guys can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Twitter is where I publish or post all of my updates, and hopefully you'll be seeing a lot of big things on there soon. What about you, Anna?
I will be on Twitch weekly tomorrow, where we talk about everything that happens on Twitch this past week and coming week. That's twitch.tv/Twitch. We're now preparing for E3 in the future, so I won't be at too many events coming up, so I hope that you'll hang out with me on Twitter at Anna Prosser, where I'll tell you where I'm streaming on various shows on Twitch as well as on my own channel. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate it, and hope that we will see you not next week, right, Gilly? No show next week. So we are taking 1 week off right after this episode, sorry, but then we'll be back at this time, the noon Pacific time, directly following that, the week after next.
Yes.
We will see you then. Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.